Joining me live now is Labor MP Julian Hill and Liberal MP Keith Wolahan. Julian, Keith, thanks so much for your time this morning. Good to see you both. Let's start with Rex Airlines. Julian, Rex received an $80 million lifeline from the federal government. Was that the right call, considering now smaller operators who wanted to fill the gap say it's a kick in the guts?
Well, yeah, it is the right call because competition in the airline industry domestically is important. It's important to keeping prices down. It is the key, particularly for regional Australia, to have options and choices, because without Rex, the fact is, in many parts of Australia, there is no other option, or there is only one option, and we know what that means in terms of price gouging. And yep, no doubt there's others who would also like support. The government considers these things on a needs-based and case-by-case basis, and this is the right call.
Keith, the ACCC says airfare prices have surged since Rex stopped flying between capital cities, but Qantas is blaming a spike in fares on Coldplay concerts. Do you buy that?
Well, I think this is the problem with airline competition. It's not healthy for us to be looking at it by airline or route, or particular excuses like a Coldplay concert. We need to make sure there's proper competition, and there is a question mark about whether the airline industry does have the proper competition that it needs. And where we see monopolised or oligopoly markets, we see increased prices. So I think when the ACCC asks us to pay attention to a particular market, we should do that, and then look at it in a structural sense, rather than just do piecemeal deals and putting a band-aid on this where we can. Australians deserve proper competition, and when they get that, they'll get lower prices.
Julian, Australia's ambassador to the US, Kevin Rudd, has reportedly attempted to draft the help of former PM Scott Morrison to help with Donald Trump. Is this a sign that past comments by Dr Rudd are proving to be problematic, or there might be an access problem for Dr Rudd to the Trump administration?
In short answer, no. And I might just make a couple of points. The government's addressed some of the media commentary, some of it quite Machiavellian, driven by others, and I'll explain. But we've said Kevin's doing a good job. He's delivered on AUKUS. He's delivered difficult legislation through the US Congress with bipartisan support, and that's his job. Those left-wing warriors, though, like Peter Dutton, the leader of the opposition, Scott Morrison, John Howard, have all come out clearly, consistently and firmly and said Kevin Rudd should remain as Australia's ambassador. And I think it's a terrific thing. It shows that Kevin is skilled and is doing the right thing if he's reaching out to others like Scott Morrison or whoever that may be, who can help Team Australia and our national interest. The final point I'd just make, and it's a bit of a tawdry trick that's going on, and I encourage you as a sensible journo and your listeners just to see it for what it is. On one hand, we've got the official position by Peter Dutton, and echoed by Scott Morrison and John Howard, that they back Kevin Rudd. But on the other hand, we've got this little undermining, whispering campaign, which is not in Australia's national interest. It's not Team Australia, and it's purely to try and undermine the Prime Minister. And it should stop, or at least be called out by sensible journos, and so Australians can see what's going on. We've got the opposition spokesperson, we've got Liberal Party dinosaurs like Alexander Downer, Michael Kroger, and even some, freelancing backbenchers running around undermining the ambassador. So they can't have it both ways. They can't talk out both sides of their mouth. I'm not hyping this up. I'm not being aggressive about it, but we just need to see the game that's going on, and we shouldn't be trying to undermine the Prime Minister on a day-to-day political headline in any media outlet. Let's focus on Team Australia and accept that Kevin has a track record and is doing a good job, and that's what the Leader of the Opposition rightly says, but his people should back him in on that.
Keith, can I just get your thoughts on that quickly?
Well, I think Susan Lee said it well. We want Kevin Rudd to succeed, and when he succeeds, the nation succeeds. But that doesn't mean we don't pretend the tweets aren't there. Of course they're there. They're a significant challenge. We have to deal with them. And if there are ways to do that, we should. But it's a bit rich hearing from Julian talking about weaponising foreign policy and our diplomatic relationships when that they said on many other issues that the adults were in charge, and that the coalition, when it came to speaking about foreign affairs or our relationships with the Pacific, and we were childish about it. So they have politicised this sort of stuff before, and we are putting the national interest first now. We need Kevin Rudd to succeed.
Keith Wolahan.
Can I just say, I think Keith just proved my point. Couldn't help himself. He's better than that.
Okay.
The tweets are there, Julian. We have to deal with it. That's the real world.
All right, gentlemen.
You're proving my point.
We have to run. Thank you so much for coming on the program, Julian Hill and Keith Wolahan. We'll chat to you again soon.